Okay. Hello, everybody. So, this is just a question and answer session which has been scheduled on request from some of my subscribers. And I am excited to be here. So, there are a couple of ways that you can post your questions because I'm transmitting in different places just now. So you can post your questions on the chat bar on YouTube, or you can post them on my Facebook page. Or if you're attending through the Webinar Jam link, you can post your questions through the Webinar Jam link. So let's get started. All right. So if you're not familiar with my work, my name is ZMAHOON. I have been a student of the law of attraction since 2005, and since 2010, I've been teaching meditation formally at the local library. And my meditation classes run for free. I do not charge for them. However, I also coach based on the law of attraction. And if you want information on that, you can head over to my website. Today, this session has been scheduled to answer whatever questions you guys want to ask me. So basically, that's why I'm here. And when we run out questions, we will say goodbye. Hello, Flash Mom from Greece. Yay! You are most welcome, my dear. All right. And then I have a couple of people with questions on my website. So I'm just going to go and take a look at those questions. And as we move along, I'm just going to tell you that law of attraction is all about how we think and how we translate those thoughts into feelings. Because it's the feeling that we feel which results in the manifestation. It's not the thought, it's the feeling that results in the manifestation. But we need to change our thoughts so that we can generate the right feeling in order to get the right manifestation. So, thought is the tool that we use in order to make law of attraction work in our favor. Law of attraction is always working. Sometimes it's working for us, and at other times it's working against us. What we want to do is to have it work for us. So the first thing I want all of you to understand is that law of attraction is absolutely and completely fair, because it will always match us up with the thing that is on the same vibration as us. And that's why fantastic people, good people, people like my parents, who did everything the way they thought it was supposed to be done, were always good to other people, but manifested a very difficult life because of the fact that they did not understand how law of attraction works. And so, if you're complaining about what's happening in your life, if you're not happy in some way, if you feel that something's missing in your life, the universe sees that, all of that, as a complaint. And because the universe sees all of that as a complaint, so what you get as a result is less than what you want, because the frequency or the vibration of a complaint is not the same as the vibration of love. It is a much lower vibration. And so this is what a lot of people get wrong when they start consciously paying attention to the law of attraction. A lot of people feel, rightly so, they feel that because they are good people, because they want good things, that the law of attraction should help them to get the things that they want to get. And often it doesn't work that way. And the reason it doesn't work that way is because law of attraction does not respond to us in that manner. Law of attraction responds to the vibration that is coming out of us. All right. So I have a couple of questions that I'm going to get into just now. And hopefully the people who asked the questions are here. But if not, they can always catch the replay later on. So I'm going to launch into the questions just now. The first question I have is from someone on Facebook, and their question is about cancer. So, should we be afraid? So this just to give everyone else a background, this person feels that cancer is something that's genetic in her family, and that it runs in from one generation to another, and there is a fear that if my mother was afflicted with cancer and my sister has got it, then should I be concerned about getting it as well? Hang on, guys. I'm just adjusting my camera a little bit. Um, and the answer is no. No, you don't have to be concerned. Oopsie. All right, that didn't go too well. I was trying to adjust my camera. Let's see. Uh, okay, that's better. Is that better? I hope that's better. Okay. Okay. Good. So I want you to understand one thing. It's really, really important to understand this. And that is that we all have the genetic makeup. So, yes, the genes get passed down from the parent to the child. But in order for that aspect of you to be activated, there needs to be a trigger. So that is why this two children born in the same family, even if they were twins and they have the same parents and the same environment in which they are living, they're eating the same kind of food, they are engaged in the same kind of sports, but one child can end up being afflicted by a genetic situation and the other child does not get afflicted. And the reason for that is that the children have not triggered. One child has triggered the disease and the other child has not triggered the disease. And the reason is how that child stays emotionally. So when that child is emotionally not being able to maintain themselves at a high vibration, then the impact of that is that that they are not able to stay healthy, because that feeling of being low on the emotional scale is the trigger. That trigger, once it's pulled, once enough stress has accumulated in the physical body, that stress then comes out as a health situation. It can come out as a hereditary health situation. So the stress can activate one of the your genetic makeup, and you can end up having the same kind of a response as one of your parents. And the other child, because they are not experiencing that reaction, then they may not, in fact, activate the trigger. And if they don't activate the trigger, now they're not. Um, Sorry. Just wondering why my screen is frozen here. Okay, so So that's the difference between one person having a trigger and the other person not having a trigger. You never have to be afraid that if someone else has a situation going on, that you're going to get it too. And the reason is because no two people are exactly the same. Because even if you're born in the same family and you have the same genes, but in fact you are thinking and feeling differently. So, two children in the same family, one child can end up having a certain belief about something, and the other child doesn't need to have that same belief. So, if their beliefs are different, then the result will be different as well. In order to have the exact same experience as someone else, you need to have their belief system as well as their experiences in life. You have to look at life through their lenses in order to have the same experience as them. And that's why the best thing to do is to look through the eyes of Source. When we look at the world through the eyes of Source, then we are looking at everything from a point of view of love. And when we look at things from a point of view of love, then only the best can come to us, right? And that's the idea. We want the best things to happen to us, and therefore the only thing we ever need to do is to go up the emotional scale and look at the world through the eyes of Source. All right, fantastic. So now the next question I have is a question about relationships. So this question is from a girl who is in her mid 30s, and she has been single all her life and wants to manifest a relationship. She feels that she understands law of attraction, but still it's not happening the way she wants it to happen. And the question is, what am I doing wrong? Why is it not happening? Hello. Okay, so the answer um, is actually not a simple answer, because the answer is going to be different based on who is asking the question, which is why I'm having this live question and answer session, is because everybody comes from a different place. And so the way everyone is thinking their thoughts is different. And the answer that I give one person may not be the same as someone else, but you can relate to it, because you can say, oh, yeah, I think like that as well. And so I should do this as well. And yes, that's how I learned law of attraction. So I learned law of attraction from seeing how different people were thinking their thoughts and what were the results that were happening in their lives. So for this beautiful girl, her name is Sam. So, Sam, in response to your question about manifesting a relationship for you, one of the things that I have to tell you is that you've got to stop looking for results. You've got to stop looking around you at other people and saying, oh, that person. So, you know how you were explaining to me that when you hear one of your friends is getting engaged, that you feel this pang in your heart, and you're happy for your friend, but at the same time, you're hurting for yourself. And that hurting, when you hurt for yourself, you think you're happy for your friend. And so you experience that joy and it takes you up the emotional scale. You're high up over here on the emotional scale. But then in the next moment, you think, why not me? What's wrong with me? Why isn't it happening for me? And then you come down the emotional scale and you come down and you feel sad here. You feel a sadness, you feel a despair. Every time you do that to yourself, you're actually pushing away the relationship that you want, that has already been created by the universe. There's no shortage of people out there. So there's no shortage of people out there who are right for you and have the capacity to be happy with you, and you have the capacity to be happy with them. But every time you notice someone else has what you want and you go down here, then you push that result away. Then the next thing you do, and Sam certainly does this, the next thing Sam does is she starts worrying. So she comes up over here to what I call is the worry line, which divides the scale in the top half and the bottom half. And now she starts worrying about her biological clock. I want to start a family, I want to get married or be in a serious relationship, and my biological clock is ticking. And if I don't manifest this relationship really quickly, then I'm going to be past that mark where it's possible for me to start a family. And when you think that way, that causes worry. And then that worry turns into anxiety, which is lower down on the emotional scale. So, what is happening with you, Sam, is that you're spending a lot of your time at the lower half of the emotional scale because you're thinking about your relationship, and then you're telling yourself, how is this going to happen? I don't get out enough. I don't meet enough people. How am I going to be able to manifest, because I am not doing the things that I should be doing in order to manifest a relationship. And you say that you need to be more social, but I'm going to stop you right there, because it's not about that. It's not about being more social. That is not what will bring you the manifestation that you're looking for in terms of the relationship, because the person, you could literally bump into that person at work. They might be already be working in your office. They might be someone you meet every day in the morning as you queue up to get your coffee. You don't know that person is in already in your life, because law of attraction is so powerful that that person can be right in your life, but you will not meet them. And Abraham, guys, I follow Abraham Hicks a lot, and Abraham tells the story of Jerry and Esther Hicks, where they lived in the same city, they even lived in the same building, but never met each other because they were not on the same vibration. And this is the thing, the person who is your soulmate, who is out there for you, is also wanting you, but you miss out on meeting them because you're not on the same vibration. So good things happen high on the emotional scale. If you spend most of your time worrying that those things that you want are not happening and you're not meeting those people that you want to meet, then you're keeping yourself lower down on the emotional scale. And from that place on the emotional scale, you're not going to meet the people who are best matched for you, because those good things only happen when we are high up over here on the emotional scale. So you got to change the way you look at things. You've got to, when somebody gets married in your social circle and it makes you feel sad that it wasn't you and that you didn't manifest. I know Sam's told me that one of her friends actually has got divorced twice and remarried, and now her third time round she's happily married, whereas Sam hasn't even been able to get married once or be in a serious relationship. So Sam's question is, what's wrong with me? Sam, there's nothing wrong with you, sweetheart. There, you are a beautiful girl. You are beautiful inside out. You are lovely to look at. You are a fantastic, sweet person inside. The only thing that you are doing wrong is that you're being unhappy about where you are in life. So you've got to shift from this. And I know that it's not the easiest thing to do, because I've been in those situations. And I can tell you that the only thing that you need to do really is to stop worrying about a relationship and shift your attention to something else. Pick up a hobby, or just look out of your window and find something to look at and appreciate. So what I want you to do, Sam, is every time you think about, oh my god, my biological clock is ticking, how am I ever going to meet the man of my dreams, I want you to stop yourself right there, and I want you to have either save a couple of pictures on your phone or just go to Google and look for beautiful pictures. And I want you to shift your attention away from the relationship to something else. whatever it takes. Do not think about this relationship situation. The less you think about it, the more the universe has the opportunity to guide you. So what's happening is, here's Sam, here's the person that is waiting to be attracted into her life, but in between here is this obstruction, and the obstruction is coming from all the negative beliefs that she's thinking. But the universe is so powerful that the universe can take her around this obstruction to this person who's waiting for her. But the only way that can happen is if she stops looking at the obstruction. As long as she looks at the obstruction, she activates the obstruction. Now the universe cannot lead her around it. So, Sam, I need you to stop thinking about this relationship stuff. Get a hobby. Go start, join a singing group. I know you like singing. So go join a group, a choir, or I don't know, barbershop, whatever, vocal lessons. I don't know, get out there, do something different than sit at home and think about the fact that the relationship is not coming. And I trust me when I tell you, the relationship, the guy that you want is going to walk up to you and ask you out. You do not need to go looking for him. He will walk up to you and ask you out soon as you stop focusing on the fact that you have a relationship problem. Okay? So try that out. Come back and tell me how that goes for you. I'll be happy to help you every step of the way. Okay. I have another question coming through. Hang on, guys. I need to wear my reading glasses or take them off in order to read the question. So, Ambika question is, my husband and I are separated now. I am still emotionally clinging on to him. I sometimes feel this relationship is toxic, but I still want him at times. Can I use law of attraction against his will? So the thing is, law of attraction has to do with you, sweetheart. It does not have to do with anyone else. But at the same time, you cannot create. Actually, that's wrong. If you watch the video that I just posted 2 days ago, you can create for someone else, but you cannot allow it in on their behalf. However, you can create a version of you with whatever you want, because that's what all of visualization is. Visualization is, if I want this person in my life, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to visualize myself being with them. And so even though that person may not believe in law of attraction or whatever, but you're putting it out there, and your putting it out there is enough to make it happen. The only thing, the missing piece, is that you've got to believe in the possibility of it. Because if you don't think it's possible, then you've closed the door. And no matter how much you visualize, it's not going to happen. Okay? So you've got to keep telling yourself that anything is possible. Source is powerful and can make anything happen for me. I don't need to worry about this. I'm just going to shift my attention to things that feel good, and I'm going to let the universe work on my behalf. And if you did that, then everything else would fall into place for you. Now, having said that, I want to add to that by saying, in relationships, when I meet people who come to me for help and advice, and a lot of people say, I just want this specific person. I want this specific person in my life. The problem with that approach is that you're not giving it over to the universe, because it implies that it's like throwing a tantrum. And that's what I've talked about in one of my videos. If you go back and you'll check my channel, there is a video about attracting a specific person into your life. And really, when you say, universe, I just want this one person, I don't want anyone else. Don't show me other people. I just want this one. Why can't I have this one? That is the same as throwing a tantrum. It's like when you were a kid, and do you remember how frustrated your mother used to get with you when you said that you just want to eat this one thing and you were not going to eat whatever else she had made? she used to get upset and frustrated with you. Do you remember? Right? So, the best way to get what you want is to give in to the universe. And you give in to the universe by telling yourself, reminding yourself that whatever the universe brings to you is going to be all right. So, the way you ask for your husband being back in your life is by saying the following words: Universe, I would really like to be with my husband again, but I'm going to go with the flow. I know that whatever you are planning for me is better than any plan that I make. And so, if it is in my best interest to be with my husband again, then please make it happen for me. And if it's not in my best interest, then please take the thoughts of him away from me and help me to think about other things. When you say it like this, it is less resistant. And when it is less resistant, now the universe can help you. So it's about opening the door and letting the universe know that you are willing to be happy with whatever the universe brings you. And that's how I want you to start thinking about your relationship. When you have that attitude, then many possibilities happen. And sometimes what happens is people give up and then they go do something else with their life, and then suddenly that person that they always wanted appears in their life. Why does that happen? That happens because when you give up, now you're not considering the problem. Now you're not digging in your heels. Now you're willing to go wherever the universe wants to take you. And when you give up, now the universe is able to take you to what you wanted. Because as long as you're digging in your heel, what you're doing is you're activating those negative thoughts that are not letting those things happen that you want. So that's the answer to your question, my dear. All right, let's see if we have another question. All right, so the next question I have coming up is about money, and it's coming through on my Facebook page. So, with money is not the easiest thing for people to work on. And the reason it's not the easiest thing for people to work on is because money is a problem that we encounter on a daily basis, right? Because we're always asking, oh, how will I pay this bill? Or you see something and you want it, and then you remind yourself that you don't have the money for it. So, money, because it's in our face every day, it is not the easiest thing for us to work on. So, how do you change your mindset, your abundance mindset about money when you are encountering money issues on a daily basis? Well, I know because I've been there, because I've been in that situation where I was in a new country, Canada. I had two children. My spouse left us, and we had nothing. And so, or we had very little. And so the problem always used to be at the beginning of the month, I would start thinking about the next month and thinking, oh my God, how am I going to make this work next month? And what I learned from Abraham was to soothe myself by saying things like, I don't need to worry about money today because I don't need this money until the end of the month. So I want between now, the beginning of the month, and the end of the month, I want to hand this over to the universe. Because I know that when I hand it over to the universe, then the universe will find a way for the money to come. I don't need to do it. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to go there at all till the end of the month, till there is actually a bill in my hands that needs to be paid. I don't need to think about this. So every time the subject of money would come up in my mind, that is what I used to do, is to tell myself, I don't need to think about this just now. I'm going to put this problem away, and I'm going to let the universe help me. Because if you, so here's the thing, here's the key I want you to know, whether you're looking at relationships or money or health or whatever subject that is front and center for you. If you worry about it, then the universe cannot work on it. So remember this tip. If you worry about it, or if you're anywhere on this part of the emotional scale about it, then the universe cannot work on it. You are preventing the universe from helping you because you are worrying. And as long as you're worrying, as long as you are anywhere in the lower half of the emotional scale, the universe cannot help you to get what you want. And that is why I keep saying, take your mind off the problem so that the universe can help you. You've got to stop thinking about the problem and think about something completely different. Because when you do that, now the universe can step in and the universe can start helping you. So, all right, there's another question about money coming in from that explanation on my Facebook page. So I'm going to go ahead and address that. So thank you, first of all, Mike, for your question. And the question is, what if I'm already in a really bad place and nothing seems to be working and money doesn't seem to be coming in? How can I shift my mind over to something else? That's a really good question, Mike. Thank you very much for your contribution. So, I want to talk about this analogy that Abraham uses, and they used to use it a lot in the past. They don't use it as much anymore. They've come up with a new analogy. I'm going to tell you both the old one and the new one. So the old one used to be, if you already jumped out of the airplane at 10,000 feet, it's going to be over soon. It's too late now to take any action. That's what Abraham used to say. And now the new analogy is, if a car is at the top of a hill and you nudge it so it starts going down the hill, then it's too late for you to stop the car. It is going to go into the lake or whatever, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. And the reason Abraham says that, Mike, I have to clarify here, is that the bad thing that was going to happen, that you were afraid would happen, has already happened now. So you cannot suck it back. You cannot take back something that's already happened. It's already happened. It's already manifested. So we cannot change an event that has already happened. What we can do is we can create a better tomorrow. So if, in this case, in Mike's case, if you've already gone bankrupt, you can't erase the bankruptcy. You have to follow whatever that system is for addressing that situation, because that manifestation has already taken place. But what you can do is you can lay the foundation for a much better future in the coming days. So the way you do that is, it's almost like, I like to explain this by saying, if your brakes are not working, then check the car before you get into it. Because once that car goes out of control, you are going to crash. That manifestation is going to happen. So it's too late to change that manifestation once momentum is already underway. So what you have to do is you have to tell yourself, I'm going to be fine. Despite whatever has happened, it's not the end of the world. And I can tell you that I've been in my life many times at that stage where it feels like, oh my God, this is the end of my, like, how am I ever going to dig my way out of this kind of a situation? I've been there many times. And I can tell you that when that dark night passes, morning always comes, right? And things can always get better. So you just have to make it through that dark night by telling yourself that things can get better. and telling yourself that I can do the work because other people have done the work. And if other people can do the work to improve their lives, then I can too. Look around you. There's so many examples of people who have completely turned their financial situation around. Jerry Hicks is one of them. He had nothing. He was a thrower in a circus, ran away from home, literally ran away from home and joined the circus as a kid, as a teenager. And then look at what he created. Look at Eckhart Tolle from living on the pavement. Look at that man where he is now. And there are so many examples of people who had nothing. I know people who live in my community who have demonstrated the ability to turn things around completely. So anyone can. But what you have to do is you've got to let go of the past. You've got to stop weeping over what has already taken place in the past and tell yourself, okay, so that happened. All right, that's fine. Things can get better. Because if you don't believe that things cannot get better, if you don't believe that improvement is possible, then that takes you into depression. That's what all of depression is. It's right here at the bottom of the emotional scale is depression. And depression is someone repeating to themselves the fact or the words that my life can't get better. No, there's no hope for me. I can't do this. I don't have the strength. I don't have the skills. So what they're doing is they're looking at the past, and because something in the past has failed, now they're telling themselves that there can be no success in the future. That is absolutely not true. Because whatever has happened has happened. You can't change that, but you do have absolute and complete control over the future. The way that works, folks, and I've tried and tested this, is that you've got to stay within your beliefs. So if your belief is, a lot of times when people start working with law of attraction, they start having conflicting beliefs. So, on the one hand, our belief with law of attraction is I can create a lot of wealth because anything is possible, so I can create a lot of wealth. But the other belief is I'm spending too much, I have too much on my credit cards. These two beliefs pull you in opposite directions. And when you have two beliefs that pull you in opposite direction, you literally break yourself apart and you do not go up the emotional scale. And if you get pulled apart over here, what is worry? Worry is pulling apart. So it's about those two conflicting beliefs. Now, if you keep having that belief that says there's too much on my credit card and this is bad for me, then you will not be able to make progress unless you address that problem. Because you you can't just take a belief and say, "Oh, I believe that credit card debt is bad for me, but I'm going to still keep doing it and the universe is going to still give me prosperity." You can't have it both ways because those two beliefs are pulling you in opposite directions on the emotional scale. One belief is pulling you down, the other one is pulling you up. But I'll tell you from my own experience, the weight of negative beliefs is way more than the weight of positive beliefs in the beginning, when you're in that phase, when you're trying to turn things around. So, what you have to do is two things. First, you've got to take your mind off the problem, and then you've got to put your mind on something positive so that you create more weight at the top of the emotional scale. And that means if I have this belief that credit card debt is bad for me, then I've got to cut up those credit cards and put them away. The next thing I have to do is I can't just manifest abundance just like that. It does not happen if debt is dragging you down. So you do have to address the debt. So, first thing is stop using those credit cards because you've got a belief that they're bad. So, if you keep doing something that you think is bad for you, then the result of that is not going to be positive. So set aside those credit cards and stop using them, and then do something to pay them down. That's when you're going to feel empowered. That's when you're going to start going up the emotional scale slowly but surely. And I can tell you, as someone who's been there, done that, that if you do this process, you will go up the emotional scale. And the result of it is going to be that more and more money will come into your life so that you can pay off these credit cards faster, and therefore be able to reclaim your natural state of abundance. So, Mike, I hope that answers your question fully. And if you want more help with that, I am happy to help. Beatrice, there is no set topic for this transmission. It is open question and answer. So, whatever questions people have, I will respond in live, in real time. So some questions are coming from my Facebook group and my Facebook page, and some questions are coming from YouTube. All questions are welcome today. This is the first time I'm doing this kind of a live transmission, and I don't have a topic for it today. All right. So the next question that's coming up from my Facebook group is about weight and how to reduce weight in a healthy manner based on law of attraction. So that's the next question I'm going to address, is how can we lose weight by using law of attraction and nothing else, lose weight and look good. All right. So thank you, Janet, for this question. Losing weight using the law of attraction. See, again, it kind of follows through from what I was talking about just now about money, that if you have contradictory beliefs, then your beliefs actually pull you apart. They pull you in different directions. And if your beliefs are pulling you in different directions, then you're not able to go up the emotional scale. And you have to go up the emotional scale in order to make things work, in order to get what you want. So, in the context of health, if you feel, if you've got this belief, Janet, that I need to exercise in order to lose weight, but then you don't exercise, now you are creating a situation where you will put on more weight. And the reason is because you've got a belief that you have to do something and you're not doing it. That creates a pull that keeps the things that you want from happening. So I want you to make a list of all the beliefs that you have about losing weight. And from working with people in the past, I can tell you some of the beliefs that generally people have. One of the beliefs is, I need to eat less carbs. So that's a common belief people have. I need to give up sugar completely. I need to exercise. So, if these were the three beliefs that you also have, Janet, then you've got to do these three things. You've got to start eating less carbs, you've got to give up sugar, and you've got to start doing some exercise in order for the needle to move. And I mean, you've got to do some of it, because when you do some of it, let's say that you like having pasta often, and then you've got this belief, every time you eat pasta, the belief is, oh my God, I'm eating carbs. This is not good for me. So if you still eat the pasta with that belief, you're going to put on more weight, because that's what you're believing. So then you've got to look at that and say, I believe that eating this pasta is going to put on weight for me. So I'm not going to eat it. I'm going to find another alternative. So, this is how you have to compare your existing belief system with what you want to accomplish, because you cannot go against an existing belief and get good results. So, the first thing is, either you change your belief about pasta. So, you start thinking, oh, the carbs in pasta are okay for me because my body knows how to deal with them. If you truly believed that, and then you ate the pasta, now you're good. Now it's going to help you reduce weight. So you cannot eat food that you think is bad for you and still be able to lose weight. That's the concept behind all diets that make a diet work, is because you're buying into the logic of the diet. The logic of the diet says, this, I'm doing this and this is good for me, so it's going to work. And that's the concept on the basis of which diets work. And when you stop having, when you, so this is what goes wrong for a lot of people, Janet, is that they do the diet and maybe they do it for 2 weeks and they're really, really good and they stay on the diet. And then they go on the weighing scale and they look at the weighing scale and they say, oh, I've been on this diet for 2 weeks and nothing's happened. So now their belief about the diet goes out the window, because now the belief is, oh, maybe this diet doesn't work. So that's kind of what happens with people who are trying to lose weight, is that they are not paying attention to their belief system behind that whole concept. And that's why they end up either not losing weight or being completely disappointed with what they're doing. Or sometimes they actually put on more weight, because what happens when you're on a diet or you're trying to lose weight is that all those beliefs that you have about food and health, they rise to the surface. And because they rise to the surface, they are more present in your conscious mind. They are not subconscious anymore. That is the best time to work on them. And if you don't work on them, if you just leave them the way they were, now you've added more power to them. So that actually makes the next diet harder to do, or the next exercise routine harder to do, because you've made it harder because you have done nothing to change it around. Okay. All right. I'm going to take a look at these questions that are coming in here. So Shama has a question. I would like to understand, on one hand, we can do visualization or journaling to feel good, but with a specific person, we should not do it. I do not understand the difference properly. Sweetheart, Shama, I'm answering your question. How successful visualization and journaling are depends on where you are on the emotional scale. So, if you are in the lower half of the emotional scale, and you do the visualization of seeing yourself with a specific person, it doesn't matter how long you visualize and how much you want this person, that visualization will not work. And you are definitely in the lower half of the emotional scale if you are noticing that it hasn't happened. Because every time you notice the absence of something, you are in the lower half of the emotional scale. You are in a place of feeling lack. And the feeling of lack is not conducive to manifesting. So that is why I say, I teach this, and I know Abraham teaches this, is that if you are feeling the absence of something in your life, do not do a specific visualization with respect to it, because you will actually make things worse for yourself. Do not do it. The visualization, if you really want someone, see, the thing is, if you badly want someone, when you use that word, you say, I really want this person in my life, I feel so bad, I can't live without them, I don't think I can survive if I don't have this person in my life. All of those things that you're saying are indicative of the fact that you're lower down on the emotional scale. Because if you were up here on the emotional scale, your language would be completely different. Your language would be, I would love to have this person in my life. It would be so much fun to have them there. But you know what? I'm still having a good time. That's very different language. And if your language was like that, Shama, then you would be able to do a specific visualization from here and be able to manifest. So it's really, 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 really important to understand how the emotional scale works, because all these different techniques, this is the reason, this is the reason that I do what I do, because people don't understand the difference. And the techniques work for some people, and then for other people the same technique does not work. And the reason is because people are missing out on this important information, that the technique will work only if you know where you are on the emotional scale, and if you are doing the right technique for your situation based on what your belief systems are and where you are on the emotional scale. And that is the reason why, even though law of attraction is really, really simple, but it does not work for everyone. Okay, so Shama, I hope that answers your question. Hi, Amber. All right, so I have a problem with being indecisive, and with that comes not committing, not trusting the outcome, and never following things through to completion. How to get rid of this cycle? Oh my God, Amber. That is such a big question that I think I might actually do a whole YouTube video for you. So, thank you, first of all, for your question. I am going to address the question. This is something I learned from Abraham. Folks, I always give Abraham Hicks credit because I followed so many teachers before Abraham. You name it, Eckhart Tolle, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Louise Hay. You can see my library, but you can't see all of my library, but I've given a lot of my books away. But I can tell you that Abraham really brings the goods to the table. Abraham really, really brings things home. And with decision making, what I've learned, the biggest thing that I've learned from Abraham is that you need to stop looking at the cons and only look at the pros. If you only look at the pros, you do not become indecisive. We become indecisive when we trust our logic more than we trust our soul. So I put my hand over here to signify the soul. And we should always trust our soul more than we trust our mind. The reason is because the soul has more information. The soul can see everything. The soul can see everything about me, all my options, and the soul can see the real truth about every situation, every person. The soul can see all options. I cannot. I can only see what I can see. So my brain has limited information with which to make decisions. My soul has unlimited information with which to make decisions. When we do a pro and con analysis for anything, we are basically only using our brain and we are discounting our soul. And if you discount your soul, you invariably become indecisive because the mind cannot synthesize all information. The soul can. So, Abraham's way of teaching us how to make a decision is to, if you have two different options, look at the pros and the pros and the pros of this one, and the pros and the pros and the pros of this one. Which one has more pros that make you feel good? And give them a weightage. Give them a weightage. This pro is a really important pro. And do not look at the cons at all, because if you can just focus on things that work, the pros work, then everything else will fall into place, because the universe has the power to eliminate all the cons. So make your decisions based on the pros. Trust. Start trusting the voice that comes from within. Start trusting the voice, in the little voice that says, come this way, come this way, come this way. Listen to that voice, because that voice has more information. And the other thing is, last thing for you, Amber, is always make your decisions from above the worry line. Never make a decision from below the worry line. Always put the decision making aside. Do the journaling or the appreciation work or the meditation to bring yourself up the emotional scale, and then make all your decisions from here. Okay? All right. So let's see. What did I miss out on? Self-love seems to be the answer to allowing. If we completely loved ourselves, we would experience love, joy constantly. How do we focus on self-love? Okay, so sweetheart, thank you again, Amber, for your question. Self-love comes from trusting the universe. Self-love means I'm okay where I am and everything in my life is okay. And that can only come if you trust the universe. Because otherwise you keep finding fault. Having said that, my dear, I'm going to tell you that that means staying up here on the emotional scale. And I can tell you that nobody does that. Nobody can stay here right at the top of the emotional scale all the time. If we did, we would be dead. People, we are meant to go up and down the emotional scale. We are meant to know how to go up and down the emotional scale, because that is what being alive is all about. If you never went down the emotional scale, you would never give birth to desires. And if you never give birth to any new desires, life would be so empty. Life would not feel good. Life is about contrast, and it is about knowing what to do when you don't feel good. All you need to do is appreciate, meditate, and come back up here. And the thing that I want you to understand most of all is joy is transient. Nobody has an orgasm that goes on forever. Satisfaction is where we want to be. We want to be in a place of satisfaction all the time, not a place of joy all the time. And then, too, you've got to accept, not be afraid. So, when I first discovered how to start using law of attraction, I used to be afraid of falling down the emotion scale until I realized that being a powerful user of law of attraction means that it is part of the process to fall down the emotional scale, because I don't have to worry anymore, because I know how to change my point of attraction in 5 minutes, because that's all it takes. All I have to do is look out the window, find a tree to appreciate, and soon as I start appreciating, I go right back up the emotional scale. So I don't have to make the effort to stay here. In fact, I don't want to make the effort to stay here. Because if I make the effort to stay here, my life is going to be very uninteresting and very boring. I want the contrast, because now the contrast does not bother me, because I know what to do when there is contrast in my life. All I have to do is appreciate and go back up. And then the manifestations that I want will happen easily. So it's a little bit of a process and it takes a little bit of learning. But then as you do it and you start seeing that, yes, I can do it, I can go up the emotional scale, that is what creates self-worth and confidence. Self-worth is not a badge that you get and then you wear it all the time. Self-worth comes from having faith, comes from having trust that the universe has my back. And every time I fall, all I need to do is a couple of things to go right back up. So it is a process and it does take work all the time. All right. So let's keep going. So, say you have to go to court against someone who's done injustice to you, and you know that this person will not tell the truth. How do I make sure that I get the justice that I deserve? Ah, lovely, lovely question. Oh my God. Can you not see, my dear? I love you very much, and you will start seeing the way I see things. But can you not see what your belief is? You've got this belief that this other person that you're going up against in court will not tell the truth. That is just a belief. It is true. I acknowledge that it is true. It is true because you believe it to be true. Anything that you believe will be true, because that's law of attraction. Law of attraction says if you believe something, I will provide you with evidence of it. That is what the universe says. That is the promise of the universe to you, that if you believe something, then the universe will always make it true. So the belief that you have to go into this court case with, because I know, because I can feel your vibration, I know that you cannot change your belief about this person. So don't try, because this is not the right time to try. As Abraham says, you've already fallen out of the aircraft, so don't try now. But we can still have an impact on the result of the court case. And the way we have an impact on the result of the court case is by saying that all things are possible. The universe is so powerful, and the universe has access to so many resources that the universe can bring me the positive result that I want. I don't know how it will happen. I don't know what needs to happen. And I am not going to think about it, because that's not my job. That's the job of the universe. I am going to put 110% of my faith in the power of the universe, because my power is puny compared to the power of the universe. I am going to let the universe handle this situation for me. I know that the universe has the power to give me what I want out of this situation, and I'm going to take myself out of the way. Because you see, as long as you keep thinking this thought that the other person will lie, you are creating an obstruction and not allowing the universe to help you. So allow the universe to help you by getting yourself out of the way completely. Okay? And tell yourself every time your thoughts go there, and they will, your thoughts will go there because you're human. It's part of being human. So your thoughts will go there. So stop yourself and say to yourself, not my job. I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to do. So I'm just going to stop here and I'm going to hand it over to the universe. Universe, here you go. Over to you now. I'm going to trust in your ability to look after this for me. In the meantime, I'm just going to find something to appreciate, or I'm going to sit down and meditate. And that's it. And even when you sit down to meditate, if your thoughts go in that direction, you've got to stop yourself, because you have got to understand that every time you try to resolve the situation, you make the problem bigger. So just stop and get off the subject. All right, makes sense? All right, don't use being a single mom as an excuse, right? I learned that too. I'm a single mom too, but being a single mom is not a negative. It is a positive. If you make that into your strength, then it's a positive. And if you use that as an excuse, then you're making that into a negative, and it doesn't have to be a negative. I turned being a single mom, I turned it into a superpower for myself long ago, because I started saying things to myself. The fact that I'm a single mom is fantastic, because I don't have to negotiate with anyone about how I'm going to bring up my children. I am the person who gets to make all the rules. I am the person who gets to decide everything. I don't have to negotiate with anyone. I don't have to convince anyone that my way is better. I can depend on me, whereas I have difficulty depending on someone else, but I can completely depend on me. I will always show up for myself, right? So being a single mom can be your superpower, my dear. It just depends on how you think about it. All right. So excellent questions coming up. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. I'm just going to go to my Facebook page and group and make sure that I address any questions that are coming up over there. All right. Okay. All right, I guess that's it for today, guys. So I don't have any more questions coming in, so I'm going to close the session. I hope you found this useful. I am going to start doing this kind of a YouTube live to answer questions once a month. So look out for that. And I believe that I will announce it, but I'll probably do one either on the 8th or the 15th of February. So look out for that. I will post it ahead of time. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to help you with it. Thank you, everybody who joined me here today. I am thrilled to have you all join me, and thank you for all your wonderful questions. You can also drop your questions below here, and if you drop a question below here, I will post a video specifically to respond to your question. Have a super rest of the day, and I'll see you in a live session next month. Take care, folks. Bye for now.